I know for those of us who've been to a lot of classes and have been around for a while, you'll notice that there's these like themes that come up. And during certain times, we'll be looking at certain elements or aspects of life more thoroughly than others. And right now, what has become such an important aspect of life to look at has been agendas. And as Paula mentioned when we were starting this call, we have a whole raft of classes and creations coming up that are looking at the world of business and the world of money in particular. And I would like you to look at this from the point of view of agendas. Now, for those of you that have a business and those of you that would like one, I'd like you to ask yourself this question. What is your agenda with business? Have you ever really considered this before? So I've noticed that some people, they're doing business or they're trying to create business to prove that they can, or they're doing it to somehow give them value. Like if they have a business that's a success, then they're contributing to society. Regardless of what it is, I'd like you to ask yourself, what are you doing this for? Are you trying to create business for the money that it will give you or for something else? So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive your agenda with business and what it is you're creating it for, can we destroy and create all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Now, please be aware here, your agendas are not wrong. So everywhere you've decided that agendas are a wrongness, can we destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. We do this again with classes like the things that we go to in Access Consciousness. We'll be sitting there and we'll start talking about something. Lately, from the 7-day event that just occurred, we've been talking a lot about plagiarizations and animations. And what we want to do is find all the places where we're operating from those things because they're obviously wrong and we need to eliminate them from our lives. But what if having a look at your agenda was just interesting information rather than something that you needed to discover so that you could stop doing it? Is it at all possible that it's your prejudice that agendas are wrong, that it makes it impossible for you to actually see what it is for you? So everything that is, and everywhere we're functioning from the judgment of right and wrong with agendas, which makes it impossible for us to actually be aware of what ours is, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Kristen says in the chat here, does agenda mean the program in the background? Yes, quite often it is. Your agenda is what you use to determine what is light and what is heavy when you choose anything. See, we've been given that tool of if it's heavy, it's a lie, and if it's light, it's true for us. And that for us part is pretty important because there is no such thing as truth. There is only what is true for you. And it's your points of view and your agendas that determine what will be true for you. See, for me, forever, the agendas that I've functioned from were that if I wasn't creating and if I wasn't being creative, I would actively destroy my life and become depressed. That was the agenda that I was always functioning from. Now, the other agenda that I was always functioning from that I have only just become aware of was basically, I assumed that all people were good. And my agenda was to always see the best in everyone. Now, with that agenda in place, I could never actually see when people weren't being wonderful and kind. I made myself blind to seeing how people actually were by only being willing to look for where they're good, where they're kind, where they're wonderful, where they're a valuable contribution. And then I would look for the evidence that would prove that I was right, that they were great, wonderful, kind, fabulous people. This is why I'd like you to look at, what are you choosing to create business for? Is it for the money? Or are you trying to prove that you're not creating business for the money? And so you're chasing money away because you've made that a wrongness. Everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Are you doing it to try and contribute to everybody? Are you doing business to try and create a greater world? No matter what it is for you, I just want you to have the information and the awareness of what it is you're doing it for. I titled this free call here, this Zoom, The Business of Change, because for me, that is what I do business for. I do business for creating a greater possibility in the lives of anyone who we do business with. And even if we're not doing business with them, because that's too damn linear. I'm in the business of change. I'm in the business of facilitating possibilities for everyone, not just clients, but the whole damn world. So I'm just trying to read some of your comments here. Okay, great. Kirsten says, it's changed a lot for her in the past 6 months. I really want to have fun and create a greater world with it. Awesome. Sounds good. Jyoti says, it's interesting what is showing up is I don't want to acknowledge I have a business. No wonder I don't get that agenda. What is that? Well, that's really interesting, Jyoti. See, you can be creating a business for something, but you can also be creating against something. See, I've known a lot of people that create money because they're trying to create against poverty, or they're trying to create against the disaster that they've decided is coming. Have you ever met people like that who are always considering the worst case scenario and trying to determine what they have to do and what they have to have in place so that disaster, when it strikes, they are prepared? That's not creating for anything. That's actually creating against something else. And when you're creating against something, you're actually giving it more power. So what are you all creating against that has locked in the fate and destiny you've decided must be? And everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. So what are you creating against by not acknowledging the business that you're in? And everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Thank you, Christina. That is brilliant. If we are creating against unconsciousness, how much unconsciousness are we locking in on the planet? How much power and potency and strength are we giving unconsciousness if we're actively trying to avoid it? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyond. Robin says, so could we be creating against debt? Yeah. What does it create in your life and in your business if you're trying to avoid poverty and avoid debt? You actually make those energies a lot stronger because you've decided they're real and you've decided that they have power over you.